and welcome to the Inspired Show. My name is Bashirat Abdulwahab, and today on the BATV we are hosting an amazing woman. She's a northern woman, what we call the Arewa woman, who is doing amazing things. She's into entrepreneurship and she's into community advocacy and development. And so today we wanted to meet Mrs. Farida Yahya.
Hello, Bashirat.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so would like you to tell our audience a little bit about you.
Okay, the one thing I tried to, I make it very simple. I call myself a social entrepreneur and active citizen because I'm very passionate about the way we do business. I feel like the business we do should impact our community. So it's more social oriented. And then as an active citizen, I believe that we should not just hands off the power of our rights and how this country is run. So I try as much as possible to be part of policy making and policy evaluation. So I call myself a policy, an active citizen because of that.
Oh, quite interesting. Also tell us, we understand you're into the business of natural hair, and tell us about this natural hairline that you're into, and what spurred you to study it, and what are the solutions, what problems are you trying to solve by putting those products out there?
Okay, so for me, starting up the natural hair care solutions brand was very personal. I went natural myself about 10 years ago, and when I went natural, I realized that there was a gap in the market, which is, although we were in Africa, people were not encouraging you to go natural. So you go to them, they're like, auntie, when are you going to touch this hair? Auntie, why is it taking long? Some people, like friends and family, even say, you don't have money for relaxer, I'll give you money for relaxer. Very funny. But at the time, because I was an undergraduate, of biochemistry, I had a bit of science background. So I became very curious and I decided to start, finding out what is the reason, what are even in these relaxers, because I had a very bad, experience with relaxers. And so, by the time I was able to turn my hair around, family and friends would ask me questions. Oh, can you mix this for us? Can you do this for us? And I thought to myself, well, I can make a business out of this because I just finished NYSC and I didn't have a job. And I was not really in the mood to start looking for a job. And so I was like, okay, let me just set this up. And so I took out all my savings, called family and friends, and that was it. I just set up the business. And over time, we've been able to create a niche for ourselves away from even using extensions, because I realized that a lot of my clients use extensions back to back and then they were having balding issues. And so for that, 2 years ago, we took the salon in a different turn, so we stopped using extensions completely. So it's just your hair, and we are worried about how do you grow your hair and keep it natural using organic products that we can find around us. Because again, people complain, oh, natural hair is expensive. It's expensive because they're using things that are brought in from outside the country. So of course shipping is expensive. The dollar is high, there's inflation rate. So we try to encourage people in our own salon to use what we can find in Kogi, in Nasarawa, in Kano, in Lagos. You don't have to go so far. You can still maintain your hair in what is around you. So that is really the vision for Limo Naturals, is to make the woman feel. So what we say is we are redefining what beautiful means. Beautiful doesn't mean you have to have your hair all slicked back and it has to be long. Beautiful means what you define it to be. So for us, that is what Limo Naturals is, and that's the vision for Limo Naturals.
Wow, awesome. Beautiful means what you define it to be.
Exactly.
Really amazing. So tell us about the other things that you do. I understand there is a CSR to Limo Naturals, and also there is the NGO that is into community development and advocacy. So we wanted to tell us about why did you start doing this?
So virtually everything I do is interconnected. So in secondary school, I was a captain of the debating club, and my debate master then would give me questions like, what does culture mean? How does culture define a people? Those kind of topics, and it really got me thinking. And so again in undergrad, because of course at undergrad you had a lot of time on your hands, right?
Yeah.
So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I said, let me start blogging my thoughts. At the time, there was this MTN chat that they do. You send somebody a message and then you're chatting with somebody.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with this guy from Lagos. I think Emeka is his name. And he said, where are you right now? And I was like, oh, I'm in Maiduguri. And he was like, where is that? Is that in Chad? Is that in Nigeria?
Wow.
This was like early 2000s. And I was shocked. I was like, how can you be a Nigerian and not know where Maiduguri is on the map? Because then it was before Boko Haram. So Maiduguri was not even on the radar. And I was like, okay, I need to start talking about this. A lot of people apparently that are not based here do not know anything about the North. And so I started blogging, I set up my own blog, and I started sharing with people experiences around me. So that was the birth of Northern Life. So of course we metamorphosed into other people also sending us stories, talking about their North and what the North means to them. And then over time, as we were trying to cover stories for Northern Life, I realized that, because we wanted to do like a streetwise type of interview. So we met this lady that was selling akara, and we were like, oh, we want you to share your story with us. And went there with the camera, and then when we finished the interview and we were about to leave, she was like, is that all? You guys are not going to help me. How are you going to, help my situation? And when we came back to the office, myself and my assistant, we started thinking, how can we help people in our own little way? Because it makes no sense for you to always wait for government. Fine, in countries where there's a bit of civility and there's some bit of standards, she'll probably be on welfare. But this is not the case. This is Nigeria. And so we said, okay, what can we do? She's a widow. She has 3 kids, all girls, and she's trying to put them through school. So we said we don't want to just give her money, because a lot of NGOs do that, and usually the results are not so great, based on statistics from, the UN and the World Bank. And I was like, okay, let's call her in and have a conversation with her. How can we help her? And really, that was the birth of Jamuje. Starting with that one lady, Mrs. Blessing, we started to expand, started to create a vision around it. And the vision for us for Jamuje is, using skills and networks and the resources around you to create what you want. So you want a future and you're imagining it. So don't wait on government, don't wait on anybody else. Look around you. If you have wood, how do you turn that wood into furniture? If you have beans, how do you turn that beans into akara and moi moi that can even sell in ShopRite? And that is what we try to do, with all these states. And we go deep into the community and we make sure that it's community driven. Because again, what you want is sustainability. You don't want to teach them and leave and then they don't continue. So when we go in, we're asking questions like, how can we help you? What do you need us to give you? So we're not just giving you free money, we're actually teaching you how to harness what you have. So that is really the vision for Jamuje. And like I said, everything is interconnected.
Yeah, quite awesome vision you guys got there. So we'd like to share with you, we'd like you to share with us what are saying, or if there are any, or there is one book you've ever read that turned your life around. And one particular
that's quite tough.
Experience that turned your life around, or maybe a couple of books, say 1, 2, 3, that really changed the outlook on life.
So I've again, I read a lot, so it will be difficult for me to say just one book. But then what I try to challenge myself to do is, every time I think I have an idea that is working, I try to see what is not working and what is out there that I'm missing. So right now I'm reading Aspire by Farida Yahya. I don't know if you've read it. Very amazing book. It's very practical. It's very Nigerian in its teaching, so it's easy for you to relate to. I also love the book Contagious by Jonah Berger. He's talking about, and again, I love books that are data driven, not just story. It's telling you the real things on the ground. So Contagious really changed the way I do marketing, because what he tries to teach you is, how do you market beyond just marketing to make money? How do you make sure people remember your brand and actually align their values with your values, such that anytime they think about hair, they're thinking women at hair. Yeah, so Contagious was an amazing book for me. Start With Why by Simon Sinek. That has completely changed, the way I think about things, the way I treat my employees. Like I had to even scrap the welfare program we had and actually start a completely different contract program for my staff, when I read Start With Why. Because again, you're looking for service and loyalty. You can't get it just by giving people orders and paying them money. You actually have to go deep within. So yeah, from top of my head, these are the ones I can remember.
And they're really awesome. They're really awesome. Okay, so but then what is the single most investment you made, on this journey? Was that money? Say that's more money, but that really turned things around for you. Was it?
So the way I learn is very informal, right? So for me, I think my investment is beyond money. My investment is actually being willing to listen.
Okay.
Listen not just to mentors, because over time I've tried to pick 1 or 2 people I learn from, but also listen to my staff. Because listen, the reality is that you want to create a business that would outlive you. You want to create a business that when your staff leave, they've learned something from you and they can set up their own brands. You cannot do that if you don't listen to them, in the sense that they are your first line of defense. They are the ones in front of the customers all the time. I'm here now, my staff are in the salon since morning. If I don't go back and listen to them and the solutions that they have to give me, then there's a problem. So I think my biggest investment has been training my staff to be as confident as they can be. You know, I try to take them out to have trainings at least once every quarter. If we don't go out, we do it in-house. I call somebody, emotional intelligence, whatever, 60,000 here, 100,000 there. For some people it's so much, but for me it's not a lot, because I want them to build themselves as people first, because that's the only way they can actually give me something. You know? So I think that's my biggest investment beyond myself. I try to self-develop myself a lot, but really, as an entrepreneur, you have to realize that your vision is only carried as much as the people that you invest in. You're only as good as your team. So exactly. So my investment will be in my team.
Oh, awesome investment. So do you think that more people need to venture into the natural hair business, like the business of natural hair?
Yeah.
And if you think so, what advice do you have for them? If people want to start something of this nature?
The one thing I would say is listen to the market. As entrepreneurs in Nigeria and in Africa, we don't do design thinking enough. You have to do design thinking. You have to look at people's pain. You have to look at how do you give them the pressure from their pain. You have to look at how do you be a part of their lives on a consistent basis. How do you create loyalty for brand? I mean, the reality is that maybe 8 out of 10 times you might not give them a great experience, but let them realize that that was actually you dropping the ball because you're human, but not because you don't care about them. So for me, if I was to advise anyone, and again, the natural hair market is huge. We haven't even done anything in Nigeria. Trust me, if you go to America and you see what they're doing with natural hair, you feel so stupid. We haven't even started. But that's the reality. We haven't even started, So yes, there is space for more people to come in. I would advise that they should be very open to listening to their customers, which is make sure they do a lot of design thinking. I would advise that they listen also to people that have been in the business longer than they have. Even if you think you have a hip idea that nobody will relate to, it's good to listen to people that have been in the business. That way you actually get to cut corners when it comes to problems. Yeah, so for me, these are the two things I would say. Invest in design thinking and also invest in listening to mentors.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Such an interesting interactive session. Do you have any last words?
I don't think so.
You said so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Farida Yahya.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so that was Mrs. Farida Yahya. She's the CEO of Human Naturals and the creator of Northern Lights Nigeria and founder of Jamj. So she's really into awesome things. I hope that you have learned one or two things from the thoughts that she's shared with us. And I hope that you will join us on the next edition pretty soon. And until then, we want you to like, share, and subscribe.